What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. Today we're going over a Blue Eyes deck. This is a deck that I've been enjoying quite a lot. With the new structure deck dropping, Spirit has some crazy cards. We have Maiden and Spirit also being absolutely crazy. This is going to be one of the more competitive builds that we are going to be playing. It has the Primite stuff, but we're actually not playing this package here. I think this package is definitely a win more package. I don't think it's necessarily needed. But yeah, we're also exploring a little bit more of the consistency cards in the deck. I found that a lot of the times you end up bricking on some of the stuff. Like, you do have a little bit of bricks in the deck, which is why we're not playing Jet Dragon. We're playing Prosperity to kind of alleviate that. Before we dive on into the Light Combo Trap, there's lots of different ways you can play this deck. And obviously we're opting to play the Primite variant, but you can play with the Invoke stuff. You can play with a bunch of different stuff. You can play Pure if you want to. But yeah, we're playing the Primite stuff. So we're trying to start off with a pretty standard of 2 of Blue Eyes White Dragon. You don't really need to play 3. I know that Pure sometimes does play 3. This is definitely going to be a nice Bestial target. If they don't have Maiden in the graveyard, you Bestial these 2 away. The game is going to be kind of hard to win without Roar being able to summon back out from the grave or from the banishment. So that's kind of important to know when you're playing against this. When you're playing triple copies of Sage, triple copies of Maiden, these cards are absolutely busted. The search for your trap places it immediately on the field, no matter where it's at, in graveyard, hand, or deck. This lets you search for a Veiler or this if you don't already have it. Quite nice. And then, of course, you can link both these away for your Spirit. And then we also have a third. This is essentially a Eyes of Blue. You have Primite, Eyes of Blue, Ether Barrel. This lets you get into your Primite stuff, be sitting up at your Omni Gate, as well as having the Spirit on the field. So you get Spirit, which gives you access to immediately. So like, this normal summon doesn't really matter. You just go into Spirit, and it's absolutely crazy. And it comes back every single turn of your standby phase if you have the Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, which is very common to have, or on field. So it's really nice to have this as it's continuously coming back, which is cool. But that's kind of it for the main engine of the deck. Like, there's not really much for monsters. Of course, you shuffle back through most of these all the time. Like, Blue Eyes is being summoned so many times a turn, it's not even funny. So if they stop that, it's really kind of difficult for you to play. But there is different variations. You can summon another one from the deck, and like summon from the Banish Zone with the Roar as well, putting it back in the graveyard. But then for the hand traps, we're playing a load of them. We're playing triple Ash Blossom, triple Veiler. This is probably the most important one because you can search it off the Sage, triple Imperm, triple Fulros, triple Nibiru, and of course the 1 Magnema and the 1 Druisworm. Now we're playing the Magnema because we are playing the Seals, and of course Druisworm, this is a nice addition, being able to search that off the Magnema if we need another Bestial. If not, you can always search for your copy of Ether Barrel and then just start off your combo that way if you're starting with your opponent's turn. So lots of hand traps here. Not much to say, but they're the best hand traps in the format right now. You can take out Nibiru if you want to play Droll in the main deck. We're opting to play Nibiru, but obviously it's up to you guys. And Fulros is absolutely crazy. Ends up drawing so many cards, and then you can just play that way. What's really important with Fulros is that you actually can't draw your Wishes target. So I'll explain that in a second here. So we are playing triple copies of Wishes. We have this card's like absolutely busted. There was a row where I want to cut this down to 2 side. Sometimes you do that if you want to side out some of your stuff, but it's just an absolutely crazy card. You need to play 3 of this at all times, pretty much. Just absolutely busted. The same thing with Load. Load's an absolutely crazy card at 3. You can cut down if you are going second on it. You can play 2 of it or 2 Ether Barrel, depending on how you want to play it. Because you are not going to be able to see, especially if you have like Fulros in your deck, you have all this stuff. You don't need to see the doubles like going second. You want to see more of those board breakers or those hand traps. So definitely when you're post side, you do take one of these out, with either this be the Ether Barrel or the Load. You are playing the 1 Sage, the 1 Roar, and the 1 Drill Beam for your spells. Roar is absolutely crazy. What's important for Wishes is that you have to play 2 targets. So you have to play Roar alongside the Majesty. If you're not playing, or if you have like one of them in your hand, you can't activate Wishes at all. So it's very important though that you have to be able to resolve both the effects to add 2, or else you can't activate the effect at all. That's kind of rough. And it can't search Mausoleum, so you have to play 2 targets. Because if Roar's in your hand, then you can't activate Wishes, and that's definitely just not a good card. So definitely make sure you remember that when you are playing. Drill Beam, obviously, being able to reset itself, absolutely crazy. And then Mausoleum of White, giving you additional normal summon, just kind of busted. Then for the other spells and traps, we are playing Prosperity, like I mentioned earlier. We want to be able to dig through our deck. At one point, we were playing Extravagance. Shout out to Josh for that. We decided to cut that there for a little bit less, giving us extra deck space. Like at the time, we were playing like 3 copies of almost every single monster you're playing. I'll explain the build with Extravagance in a second as well. We were playing like 1 Prost, 2 Extravagance, but we also are playing these 2 here. They're pretty much ending requirements, not much else to say. This pops 2 cards, and of course, True Light's absolutely crazy. This being able to Spirit being able to protect this from destroying itself if they ghost over you is absolutely nuts as well. But yeah, if we were playing Extravagance, you definitely can play the deck. I'll show you guys the extra deck if you are playing Extravagance, but we're playing double copies of Spirit, double copies of Seal, triple copies of Spirit, double copies of Ultimate, 1 copy of Moonlight, 1 copy of Lightsworn. So in the build where you are playing Extravagance, you cut this, and you play like 3, 3, 3, 3. And that just helps you out, as well as like, I'll show you guys in a second, like your fusion monsters. But like double sphere is absolutely insane. Like we are playing this version of the deck like a little bit more slow, which is why we're playing double copies of Ultimate. And a lot of players don't play double copies of Ultimate, but like I don't really find tagging out into Crimson Dragon and tagging out into like Divine or stuff like that being absolutely crazy. You have to tag out twice for that, and double spirit boards aren't actually that good. Like, yeah, of course, they're good if they resolve or the triple spirit board, but the problem is that you actually are very susceptible to hand traps like Nibiru and no way to play around it. So like, I prefer anything like a Seals and a Spirit and just passing turn on that, and that's going to be like very good enough most of the time. And then the follow-up is going to be absolutely immense with it. Like, I don't want to go balls to the wall combo, shit out my hand, and then get Nibiru and lose it all. I'd rather end on like a Seals, a Spirit, and then a hand trap, and then being able to play through that way and like outgrind my opponents to victory, which is pretty cool. So I think that's a way, like, you know, summoning with the Spirit to top stuff, and then being able to go into an Ultimate, having the negate, having the Spheres, being able to bounce a card as well, being able to search for stuff, just feels kind of nice. I prefer that myself in playstyle wise, but you guys definitely do what you guys want to do. I definitely don't think there's going to be a correct or a wrong way to play Blue Eyes. Is kind of how you guys want to play it. And then for the Spirits, I guess play Blue Eyes Tyrant or playing double Blue Eyes, the Neos, as well as a 1 Typhon. If you're playing the Extravagance build, you just play 2 and 2. You can play 3 if you want to for that as well, but it doesn't really come up, especially when you have this. But yeah, Extravagance is definitely cool in the deck. I don't think it's going to be like 100% mandatory either. But if you're playing like a pure version of the deck, you might want to be able to go shuffle through your stuff, and definitely helps out quite a bit for your consistency wise. Now for the side deck, this is going to be a tournament deck that we are playing at locals today. I guess we already play at locals, so I might update depending on how we play. So if we get first place, I'll definitely change it to a first place deck profile. But for our side deck, we are playing the triple copies of Ghost Ogre, triple copies of Droll and Lockbird, triple copies of Lancia, triple copies of Meow, and the triple copies of Solemn Strike. So it's really cool when Tyrant Dragon is a Tyrant Dragon can actually reset strikes. So if you like have 1 strike and you end up going, it also set imperm as well. But you can like shuffle back these, set these back in the grind game, and it can be absolutely huge. Going for a Tyrant setting the strike is just going to be insane. Your opponent's going to have so much to play for, and that itself can just be enough for game. So of course we have like 9 Malice players that are locals, therefore we're playing the 9 Malice hate or 6 Malice hate cards. Then we are playing like for Water Respect, as well as like the Mirror Match and other stuff. What's really cool about this is if you hit Duo Drive or activation of Duo Drive while they control Caesar, they have to attach from the Caesar as well, and you're essentially just free to play. So it's a really good trade-off with Ghost Ogre if you're playing it correctly with a bunch of hand traps, which we are doing. So if you side out some of the cards that are like less impactful, put in the Ghost Ogre, stuff like that, and you essentially can just win the game that way. But yeah, notable mentions that we're not playing. We're not playing the Purge. So the reason why we're not playing Purge is I don't actually believe this card's that good. Like we were talking after regionals, and I was like, what deck actually loses the Purge? And the answer, like after we brainstormed, was not very much. So we ended up cutting Purge. I think you can play this card at 2 in the main deck if you want to. It's just not really good. We want to have all our hand traps essentially be very good at every single point in the game. And that's what all these cards do. Like every card in our deck essentially is like, we have a good play against everything. Like I suppose that Nib and the Bestials are not always great, but at that point it's like, the Bestials are kind of like a main deck requirement, especially with how good Fiendsmith is right now. If you're playing against that random water matchup that's like Crystron or Mermail, it's like it is what it is. You have like 2 cards in your main that's not going to be the greatest, but that's just kind of unfortunate. You have like the Droll and Lockbirds and Ghost Ogres for that side afterwards. Regardless, hope you're watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see Blue Eyes content like this. We're going to have a POV, I believe, that went up today earlier with the deck through testing. You guys can see that if you guys definitely want to check out the channel. And of course, more Blue Eyes content on the way. Probably at least 1 or 2 at least videos every week about Blue Eyes for the next while. Stay safe. Peace.